What is going on, guys? PXCam here, back in with a brand new video. We are here at Austria Red Bull Ring for the FIA Nations Cup race, as we are in our Aston Martin V12 Vantage, as that was probably the best car here on Red Bull Ring. So ranked in 9th place for this lobby. We are ranked with a lot of A+ drivers, S rank drivers, and A rank drivers, so we're gonna be on top of our toes, try to do as best as we can, and hopefully we can come out with a good finish on this race, as the Vantage was, again, one of the cars I used back in the earlier times where I used to make videos, and that was actually the first car I used with the FIA Manufacturer Cup. So I have some previous experience with this car. It's a really fun car, really good on the straights, and it's not too difficult to drive as it's really heavy. But we're gonna see what we can do here, and hopefully we can again get a really good finish, as we're gonna jump into the points right now. Now, as we jump into the points, if we get first place, we will get 245 points, but what we are shooting for is a 5th or better, as if we do get 5th or better, we are going to be able to get enough points to help us out in the standings, as I believe the most amount that we've gotten so far, or the least amount of most, is 188 points. So if we get more than 200, that's going to definitely help us out on these standings for the Nations Cup. So let's jump right into it. But before we jump into it, if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that's enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into qualifying. As we are now jumping into qualifying, we are over revving the engine, as it's really important to get onto the track behind someone's slipstream. As you can see, there's just a lot of straights on this racetrack, so jump into the slipstream, you can definitely make up about 4 to 5 tenths if you optimize it well. As we're coming out of our first flyer lap, we're coming out of the final corner, going onto the front stretch, and see where we can finish at for our first qualifying lap. And we get a 129.253, so only good enough for a 12th place as we come out of our final flyer lap on the final corner, getting into the slipstream of the car ahead of us. Can we improve our lap time? And unfortunately, we are able to, but not that much, as we only get up with a 129.19, and that's only good enough for a 14th place. So just waiting for the qualifying to end here, and already we are off to a bad start. We're gonna have to make up a lot of positions here starting in 14th, but luckily this is a 19 lap race, so we have plenty of time to try to make up as much positions as we can, as we are now jumping into the intro. So jumping into the intro here, the strategy for this race is we are gonna be doing a one stop, as we didn't really have to worry about the fuel consumption, as it was basically non-existent on this race. So we're gonna burn some fuel in the beginning of the race, and then we were given the mediums and the hard tires, but the hard tires were gonna be the required tires to run on this race. So we're gonna start on the mediums, see if we can make up as many positions as we can with the mediums, and then switch off to the hards like around lap 9, 10, or 11, just depending on where our lap times are around that time of the race. So let's jump straight into the race and see what happens here. As we're waiting for our 3, 2, 1, we get it here, and we are a go now as we're coming out of the final corner. Really don't like where they started us off on this racetrack, as it's just kind of a really bad part, is you can get a lot of oversteer or get a lot of wheel spin coming out of that corner and end up spinning yourself out, as a couple of cars ahead of us just kind of broke away because they were able to just get onto the power and break away from the rest of the pack. So as we come out turn number 1 here, we get very close to 13th position here, as we are moving on to the inside, just following him going into turn number 3. We're gonna break onto the inside as late as we can. We're able to make 1 position. We make 2 positions, and we get a really good turn right there, as we were able to get 2 positions in the span of 1 corner. And you can see we are now bumped up into 12th place as we jump into the replay. Let's see exactly what happened. We braked just as late as we can, and we were able to put down the anchors, get the car slowed down, and we made a little bit of contact with 14th place, but nothing too bad. We're able to force our way up into 12th place as we're now coming into turn number 4. So as we jump into turn number 4, you can see right here that 11th decides to give 10th place a little nudge, and he bumps him out wide, but he tries to slow down to get back to position. You can see that he just causes a huge bottleneck right there as we make contact with him. Cars make contact with us, and you can see how many cars behind us are actually losing a lot of time because of all those contact. As I know he felt bad for making contact with that car, but if he wanted to get back to position, he should have waited a little bit further into the straight instead of bottlenecking us all right there, as we're now jumping into turn number 1 on lap number 2. So coming out turn number 1, you can see there's a car on the inside. He gets turned right there. Not sure exactly what happened, as the car ahead of us has a 2-second penalty. Jumping into the replay to see exactly what happened. You can see the purple car just gets punted out wide from the white and blue car, and for some reason he gets a 2-second penalty, which is my opinion, unjustified. I don't think he deserved the 2-second penalty, but that happened, and we're going to be able to gain 2 positions and another position. Now we're heading into turn number 3. Coming out turn number 3, you can see the car behind us is trying to get a good exit, but he is unable to do so there, and we are able to just pull away now as we are going to the straightaway leading us into turn number 4. Jumping a little more forward into the lap of lap number 2, you can see 6th place gets a 1-second penalty, or a half a second penalty, and we're going to try to do everything we can to make up that gap to 6th place so that we can compensate on that half a second penalty, and hopefully we can get an overtake now as we come into turn number 3. So on turn number 3, coming out of here, 7th place gets a little bit squirrely coming out of that corner. It's very tricky to come out of turn number 3 without over revving or over wheeling your car, as you could lose a lot of traction getting onto the throttle, and that's something that we were trying to focus on, as we did not want to wear out our rear tires, as that can easily happen throughout the race, especially with all these slow corners and these fast accelerations on most of these corners. So the Canadian had a service penalty. Unfortunately, we weren't close enough to capitalize on that, so we're just gonna have to fall back in line, follow the 7th place car and the 6th place car, just stay in the slipstream, save our tires, and try to find a gap where we can try to make an overtake and hopefully catch up to the 5th place position. You can see 5th and up are just pulling away from us, which is not a good sign. So we have to get around the Canadian and the Americans. The Canadian is trying to make an overtake on the outside, which is a really, really desperate move in my opinion. You can see he's going very, very wide going to some of these corners, and we have the opening on the inside. I could have forced my way into it, but I decided not to as we fast forward here into turn number 1. And we're just going to look for another opening to see if we can get an overtake, as we get a really, really loose going out of turn number 1 and going down to the straightaway. So as we're on the straightaway here, the car ahead of him actually gets a half a second penalty, so that's going to be good for us, as the penalty zone is coming up right after turn number 3. Coming into turn number 3, we brake as late as we can, close the gap, and you can see the Canadians moving on to the outside of the Americans shifting onto the inside. He has to service penalty. Are we going to be close enough to make an overtake? We're getting closer and closer and closer. And yes, we are. So we get the overtake because of the penalty, and we try to force our way into the inside of the Canadian, but he slams the door on us, and he got very, very lucky that I backed out of there, because I could have easily spun him out, because that was a really late move that the Canadian did ahead of us. But we're gonna just continue forward here and see if we can get another gap and force our way into the inside of the Canadians. You can see that we are just getting closer and closer to him every single corner, as we're now heading to the middle sector and getting a blue on our lap time. So jumping into lap number 5, as we jump into turn number 1, we're moving on to the inside. This is gonna be our best chance to make the overtake, as we're coming into turn number 1, brake very, very late, and we're able to get the overtake done as we force our way in front of the Canadian, and he gives us a little bit of a bump, as that's actually going to help us out on the straightaway here, as he's giving us even more of a bump. And we're going to defend our position going into turn number 3, as I think he's going to try to go into the inside. He decides to go to the outside. We defend our position onto the inside, brake as late as we can, park it on the inside of the apex. He gives us a little bit of a tap, and that's actually going to help us out coming out turn number 3 onto the straightaway and give us a little bit of gap between us and the Canadian behind us. So up to 6th place, so 8 positions that we've made up basically in this race in the span of 5 laps, as we're now jumping into lap number 9. And you can see the train of cars are now coming into the pits, as a lot of these guys are starting to lose a lot of grip with these medium tires, as someone's actually on the hard tires. So someone started on the hard tires, they're going to shift out to the mediums, and that should give them a lot of grip now as we are jumping into lap number 11. So on lap number 11, our tires were starting to go away from us now, as we were going to decide to come in here. We were able to get into the 130s basically the entire race until last lap. Last lap we ran into a 131, so I decided at that point, okay, it's time to change our tires, as we are now changing them from the mediums to the hards. Let's see where we come out of here as we come out of the pit stop, waiting to see what positions we're going to be in. As you can see, 5th place overtakes us, now 6th place overtakes us. So 6th place was able to get a good undercut on us, and he is able to regain 6th place away from us, as we're going to have to try to catch up to him and see if we can get around him, because I don't know which one of these guys ahead of us is running the mediums or which ones are running the hards, as I believe majority of them are running the hards, but remember, one of them did start off on the hards and shifted off to medium, and I'm assuming it's the 6th place driver. As you can see, jumping into lap number 14, how much they're starting to pull away from us, and the 6th place driver was able to position himself into 5th, as we are getting pressured now for 7th. So coming out of turn number 3, we're getting pressured from the 8th place driver, as we are shifting onto the outside. We're not going to defend our positions. He just has the inside corner now going into turn number 4. We're going to brake as late as we can, though, as we are on the outside, reminiscent of Albon and Hamilton, as we are on the outside here, and he's able to make an easy overtake on us. and we're gonna follow him now on the slipstream as we come into turn number 5 and see if we can stay with him and hopefully not lose sight of him. As I don't know if he's on the mediums or on the hards, but if he's on the mediums, his tires should start wearing out within a few laps here, and hopefully we can you know, take advantage of that and get around him before the end of the race. So jumping into lap number 16, we're heading again back into turn number 3 as he's getting a lot of wheel spin, gets very loose coming out of that corner, and you can see how much time we're gaining on him now as we are getting to the slipstream and just following him here going to turn number 4. Jumping into turn number 4, we're going to stay in the slipstream, brake very late as he's going to keep it onto the outside. Missed his apex a little bit, but so do we, but look at how much time we're getting on him again. We're just getting closer and closer to his back bumper every single corner as we are now heading into turn number 5 and just following him here and just putting a lot of pressure on him to see if we can force him into mistakes. So as we jump into the turn number 6 and turn number 7 here, or I believe this is turn number 7, turn number 8, we're just staying right behind him, putting the pressure as he gets very wide going into the right-hander, and we are now going to pounce on him as we are just getting closer and closer now to his back bumper, shifting onto the inside, taking a little peek, but it's a little too optimistic as we back out of the move, and you can see he gets very loose coming out of that second corner to the final corner, and we just have to back out of there as he goes a little bit wide out of the final corner. We get a really good run. We're going to shift down to the inside. We're going side by side to the start finish line, going on to lap number 17 now as we head into turn number 1. We shift right in front of him as we're going to brake later than him, and we are able to complete the overtake now, but he gets a really good exit coming out of turn number 1 as turn number 1 has been our kryptonite, but you can see he gets a half a second penalty, so all we have to do is just hold him up until the penalty zone, and we should be able to just stay in 6th place and get a comfortable lead in front of him as we're now coming to third turn. So coming to the third turn, he's trying to make a move onto the outside. We're going side by side, trying to get onto the power without spinning out as we are able to do so, but he's getting a really good run coming out of that corner, but he has to serve his penalty, and you can see we get a really good cushion from us to him as we are now going to jump up into the final lap on lap number 19. So on the final lap here, we're about half a second ahead of 7th place as we're coming to turn number 4. All we have to do is keep it together, make sure that we don't make any mistakes, follow all of our apexes, hit all our braking points, and we should be able to hold off our 6th place and get a really good finish here, replicate Super GT, the American version, and get our 6th. So as we're now coming to the middle sector, this has been our strongest part of the racetrack, so if we are able to just stay right here and not make any mistakes, we should be able to pull away a little bit from 7th place and just make our lead a little bit even more comfortable. So as we are now coming to the final 2 corners, braking right before the 50-meter board, we hit our apex really good going into the final corner, shift out a little bit wide, try to clip our last apex good, not overrun the final corner, and we are able to safely secure a 6th place Super GT confirmed and finish this race in a good spot. So we weren't able to get our 5th place, but we were able to at least make up 8 positions, which I can say is probably one of our best performance ever that I've done on a FIA races. We did start in 14th, push all the way up into 6th place, and get 194 points. So you can see right there, we gained 8 positions on this race, which is crazy ridiculous, as Austria is really difficult to make overtakes on, but we were able to make magic happen and get ourselves from 14th to 6th place. Again, wish we could have qualified a lot better, because who knows where we would have finished at if we would have qualified in the top 8, top 7, top 6. Maybe we could have gotten a podium. Who knows? I guess we'll just have to wait for another day and see if we can get a better position on our next FIA race. So hope you guys found this video very entertaining. If you guys did, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. And if you guys really enjoy the content, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.